Hello and welcome back to the MMA Bar. Today, we're going to discuss UFC 274, which was a great night of fights, the major stories surrounding the event, the fight highlights, and the results from the event. UFC 274 marked one of the most memorable nights for the UFC in 2022. Showcasing the most action-packed title fight of the year, the knockout of the year so far, and probably the most lackluster title fight in recent years, UFC 274 was a mixture of everything. Although the event took place at the Footprint Center in Phoenix, Arizona, the event was originally linked to Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, but the promotion eventually decided to move the event from that location. UFC 274 took place on May 7. The stacked card featured 14 fights with great matchups here and there. The card was headlined by Charles "The Bronx" Oliveira and Justin "The Highlight" Gaethje. With both fighters having combined 25 bonuses in the UFC, this fight was a guaranteed banger. The co-main event was a rematch between current two-time women's strawweight champ Rose Namajunas and Carla "The Mean Cookie" Esparza. Esparza had defeated Rose Namajunas 8 years ago to be the first strawweight champ in UFC history. At the UFC 274, the pair met again and Rose sought to have her revenge. Perhaps the biggest storyline ahead of the event was defending champion Charles "The Bronx" Oliveira missing weight. With Oliveira failing to make the 155-pound weight limit at the weigh-ins, he got stripped of his title and was ineligible to win it back in the main event. As a consequence, only his opponent Justin Gaethje was eligible to win the championship. Oliveira initially weighed in at 156 pounds. The Bronx was then allocated 1 extra hour to shed off the excess weight. He stripped naked for a subsequent attempt but was still a half-pound over the strict 155-pound weight limit. Non-title fights have an excess 1-pound weight allowance, meaning a fighter can weigh in as high as 156 pounds for a lightweight. However, that lenience is not offered to fighters competing for a UFC title. This would be the first time a champion has missed weight for a title fight. According to Oliveira, "I made weight Thursday night. Man, we're not here to make up stories. I swear in the name of my daughter, the most important thing in my life. I made weight on UFC scale on Thursday night, like I do every time. On Friday morning, we went there to check the weight and it was 1 kilogram, 2.2 pounds over. I said, this is crazy. I've not drunk or eaten anything. I have to be lower than that. You're crazy." And we started this war cutting weight again. Nonetheless, the promotion announced after the weigh-ins that if Oliveira were to win the fight on Saturday, he would be declared the #1 contender for the vacant title and will fight the next challenger for the championship at a time and place to be determined at a later date. This news calmed nerves. However, the MMA community was sent into tantrum again when several athletes fighting on the card claimed the measuring scale had been tampered with, causing Oliveira to miss weight. According to Oliveira, every other fighter said the same thing. The scale was 300 grams or 500 grams over. We saw that they even told the commission it was over, and they never told us. And still, as the champion, I dedicated to cut the weight and there was 0.5 pounds left, which is the exact 0.5 pounds over in the scale. The champion has a name and his name is Charles Oliveira. I came here to once again show why I'm the champion and I'll show it. Saturday night arrived and it was time for the fights. The early prelims were opened by a fight between Journey Newson and Fernie Garcia, where the former defeated the latter by unanimous decision. The next fight was between Lupi Godinez and Arian Carnelosi, where Lupi dominated Arian to get a 30-26 decision on 2 judges' scorecards. On the next fight of the prelims, CJ Vergara defeated Clydeson Rodriguez via split decision. Brian Ortega's girlfriend, Tracy Cortez, made her UFC debut on this card with a fight against a tough prospect in Melissa Gatto. She won the fight via a 29-28 unanimous decision on all three judges' scorecards. The first knockout of the night came when Andre Fiallo, training out of Stanford MMA, knocked out Cameron Van Camp in the first round via a crisp left hook. This would be Fiallo's fourth fight this year already. Moving forward, the preliminary card was opened by the heavyweights. In that fight, Blagoy Ivanov defeated Marcus Rogerio de Lima via unanimous decision. Next on the card was a battle between flyweights. The first submission of the night would come when Brandon Royval sunk in a guillotine choke to defeat Matt Schnell in the first round. The next fight on the card was a catchweight bout. Norma Dumont had weighed in at half a pound over the women's featherweight non-title fight limit and had to lose 30% of her purse. Regardless, Macy Chiasson defeated Norma Dumont via split decision. A welterweight bout between Francisco Trinaldo and Danny Roberts closed out the prelims, with Francisco winning by unanimous decision. Now it was time for the star-studded main card finally. Originally, a lightweight bout between Joe Lauzon and former lightweight title challenger Donald Cerrone was scheduled to open up this card. However, things took an unexpected turn when the bout was cancelled on the day of the event when Cerrone suffered from food poisoning. An expected banger of a fight between Randy Brown and Chaos Williams replaced the fight as the card opener. Not too many fans disagreed with this due to the entertaining fight style of both men. Using his reach and impressive head movement, Randy Brown styled on Chaos Williams. Although he got dropped twice in the fight, he went on to secure a split decision to win him the fight. Next on the card was a tightly contested bout by two legends. In that fight, Ovince St. Preux defeated Mauricio Shogun Rua by split decision. Finally, it was time for a fight everyone was looking forward to between Michael Chandler and Tony Ferguson. Inside the lightweight division, this Michael Chandler vs. Tony Ferguson fight was arguably one of the most exciting ones at UFC 274. Even though the title fight between Oliveira and Gaethje is also quite exciting, this one was very promising and it definitely didn't disappoint. Chandler offered us one of the most electrifying fights against Gaethje on his last time inside the Octagon, so much so that he needed to recover from all the injuries he sustained. El Cacoy was his next opponent, who is already one of the greatest fighters in his division. But for some reason, Michael Chandler was already feeling very confident in his skill level. From the very first round, Ferguson proved he was truly in top shape as he dominated throughout round 1. Chandler even suffered an open eyebrow for the first time in his career. He needed to do something fast if he wanted to turn things around. With 17 seconds left on the clock during round 2, Chandler busted out a move out of nowhere. A direct foot to Ferguson's chin that was more than enough to put his lights out. No follow-up was needed from Chandler. This knockout sent chills around the world. Since Ferguson had never been knocked out previously in the UFC, most of the folks attending the event quickly stopped celebrating as they saw he wasn't responding. After some time, he recovered. It was truly a scary knockout to behold. Ariel Helwani tweeted, "Holy smokes, Michael Chandler just KO'd Tony Ferguson stiff. Shocking, scary, brutal, insane KO by Chandler. Wow." Next on the card was the co-main event between Rose Namajunas and Carla Esparza. Coming short of expectations, this fight turned out to be a total slugfest. With both fighters refusing to engage, this would be the most boring fight in women's UFC history. Carla Esparza regained the women's strawweight title after nearly 8 years away from the top of the mountain. The Cookie Monster outpointed Rose Namajunas on 2 of the 3 judges' scorecards to take home the belt she first won in 2014. Many fans, commentators, and fighters alike felt neither fighter deserved the victory. Commentators Joe Rogan, Daniel Cormier, and John Anik did not sugarcoat the situation. While all three are UFC employees who are paid to improve the UFC product, none of the three was shy about calling it like it was. "It's the stinker of all stinkers," Rogan said in the 5th round. "The dud of all duds." Finally, it was time for the main event everyone had been eagerly waiting for. With Charles Oliveira losing his title due to missing weight, and with Justin Gaethje having to fight in his hometown, both fighters had a point to prove. Immediately, the fight started. Oliveira hit Gaethje with a cross right that rocked him. Gaethje shook it off and started throwing bombs as he usually does. As the high-paced fight continued, Gaethje dropped Oliveira but was reluctant to proceed as Oliveira immediately invited him into his guard. The same sequence happened again, and it looked like Oliveira wasn't going to lose unless his lights got completely shut off. Out of nowhere, Oliveira dropped Gaethje with a straight right, then proceeded to finish him off with his jiu-jitsu. He first went for a triangle which got defended by Gaethje. He eventually had Gaethje's back and sunk in a rear naked choke which Gaethje tapped to before going unconscious briefly. All this happened within 3 minutes of the first round. Oliveira reasserted himself as the division's true king. Conor McGregor tweeted, called it, even if he knocked him down, he too has to be able to follow him down and do anything substantial. Always Charles fight. Demetrius Johnson tweeted, Charles is a treat to watch, his stand-up ground game is pure mint. Love watching him completely, probably my favorite LW fighter to watch right now. This earned Oliveira a Performance of the Night award and made him the fighter with the most performance awards in UFC history. With the win, Oliveira was unable to retain his lightweight crown after missing weight on Friday. Instead, he becomes the #1 contender for the vacant crown against an opponent to be determined at a later date. For Gaethje, it's his second straight time coming up short for the title by submission. Days after the event, fans couldn't stop talking about how good some of the fights were and of Oliveira's legacy. Some have even started to call him the lightweight GOAT. Maybe, maybe not. Time will tell. Thank you for watching this video. That's all for now. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell.